Hello students, let's talk about module 3 in that part 2 of 3D geometric transformations in the subject computer graphics and visualization for 6th semester. The contents goes like this. We have geometric transformations in 3D as we had already discussed in 2D, in which we are going to discuss topics like translation, rotation and scaling, and composite 3D transformations, other 3D transformations, affine transformations and OpenGL geometric transformation functions. Methods for geometric transformations in 3 dimensions are extended from 2-dimensional methods by including considerations for the z coordinate. A 3-dimensional position expressed in homogeneous coordinates is represented as a 4-element column vector. Thus, each geometric transformation operator is now a 4 cross 4 matrix which pre-multiplies a coordinate column vector. Let's move on to the translation in 3D, that is where we have a P position and the P dash position. A position P with respect to x, y, z coordinates in 3-dimensional space is translated to a location P dash with respect to x dash, y dash, z dash by adding translation distances called tx, ty and tz to the Cartesian coordinates of P. As we can see in the pic here, what are the Cartesian coordinates? Cartesian coordinates are which indicate the location of a point relative to a fixed reference point. As you can see here, we have translated from this position P to position P dash with respect to T of Tx, Ty and Tz. So we can see the object also in the diagram B, which is getting translated from one position to another position, that is P to P dash. Therefore, we can express this 3-dimensional translation operation with respect to the matrix form in 4 cross 4 matrix as shown in the matrix, as well as we can give P dash is equal to T into P, where T refers to the translations with respect to Tx, Ty and Tz. Here we have simple code. You can just go through this code with respect to OpenGL. You can execute it and see how a simple translation is taking place. As we already know, inverse translation is nothing but a translation in the opposite direction. So here also we have an inverse translation where it is referred as an inverse of a 3-dimensional translation matrix is obtained by negating the translation distances with respect to minus tx, minus ty and minus tz. The 3-dimensional rotation. We can rotate an object about any axis in space, but the easiest rotation axis to handle are those that are parallel to the Cartesian coordinate axis, where we have, you can see where we have the objects as firm with respect to the coordinate z, with respect to the coordinate x, with respect to the coordinate y. Thus we can give the formula for that in the form of along the z axis x dash is equal to x cos theta minus y sin theta in the trigonometric form. Y dash is equal to x sin theta plus y cos theta. Z dash is equal to z because it is with respect to the same axis. And similarly, we can proceed it with respect to along x-axis, along y-axis as shown in the slide. Let's move on to the general 3-dimensional rotations. As we have taken one example here where the 4 cases are happening. You can see here we are rotating the axis, rotating the object with respect to the particular axis here. So what we are doing first, we can do this operation in 4 form or 4, the process will happen in 4 diagrammatic representations. First what we do is we can bring that particular axis to the original position with respect to x. Then we can translate. So how we can do that? Using translation operation. So we are translating that particular object with respect to the x-axis. Then we are rotating with respect to certain angle theta and we are bringing that to in the rotation form. Then that particular rotated object we are getting back to the normal position which was there already. So here we are performing the negative translation. So it goes something like this. Translate the objects so that the rotation axis passes through the coordinate origin. Rotate the object so that the axis of the rotation coincides with one of the coordinate axes. Perform the specified rotation about the selected coordinate axis. Apply inverse rotations to bring the rotation axis back to its original orientation, and apply the inverse translation to bring the rotation axis back to its original spatial position. So how can we come with the conclusion of a composite matrix? So we can give the composite matrix with respect to this. The final operation is rotation with respect to certain theta, where we are performing the translation first with respect to certain axis, then we are rotating that particular object with respect to certain angle, then we are translating back to that particular object in the same axis with respect to the same axis. So that is how we can conclude the new point P dash is equal to T inverse dot Rx of theta dot T dot P, where P is the original position on which we are performing translation, rotation and inverse translation. We can see one more criteria here in this example, where 5 transformation steps for obtaining a composite matrix for rotation about an arbitrary axis with the rotation axis projected onto the z-axis. We can see here the initial position. Then in step 1 we are translating it to the origin, that is P1 has been from here to here we have translated. Then what we have done, we have rotated with respect to P2 dash onto the z-axis. Then in step 3 we are performing the rotation of that particular object around the z-axis. Here we are performing. Then in step 4 we are rotating the axis to its original orientation, how it was earlier. Then once again we are translating back with certain rotation axis to its original position. So this also can be used as one more example of composite transformations. So components of the rotation axis vector are then computed as V is equal to P2 minus P1, where P2 is the new point found and P1 is the previous point, where we have given x2 minus x1, comma y2 minus y1, comma z2 minus z1. The operations are performed based on this particular coordinates, where the unit rotation axis vector u can be given as V divided by the unit rotation axis vector u can be defined as u is equal to V divided by absolute value of V with respect to a comma b comma c, where every time we consider a with respect to x, we can give x2 minus x1 divided by absolute value of V. Similarly for b and c with respect to y and z coordinates respectively. The first step in the rotation sequence is set up the translation matrix that repositions the rotation axis so that it passes through the coordinate origin. So we can conclude that the translation matrix can be given as T is equal to identity matrix with respect to this negative translation every time, because rotation calculations involve sine and cosine functions. We can use standard vector operations to obtain elements of the two rotation matrices. A vector dot product can be used to determine the cosine term, and a vector cross product can be used to calculate the sine term. So the next topic we have is Quaternion methods for three-dimensional rotations. What is it, Quaternion? It is nothing but a more efficient way for generating a rotation about a very complex numbers, such as complex numbers like in the form of real numbers and all. It includes sometimes complex numbers, etc. So one way to characterize the quaternion is an ordered pair consisting of a scalar part as well as the vector part, which we can give with respect to q is equal to s comma v, where s can be defined as cos of theta by 2, v can be referred as u sine of theta by 2. A rotation about any axis passing through the coordinate origin is accomplished by first setting up a unit quaternion with the scalar and vector parts as follows, where the P point is the starting point with respect to that we rotated by this quaternion and represented in quaternion notation as P is equal to 0 comma P. The rotation of the point is then carried out with the quaternion operation, where Q inverse can be given as S comma minus V, which is the inverse of the unit quaternion Q. This transformation produces the following new quaternion, where we can give P dash, that is the new point found with respect to 0 comma P dash. The second term in this ordered pair is the rotation point position P, which is evaluated with vector dot and cross product with respect to this particular formula. Moving on to the next transformation, that is 3D scaling. As we know that in scaling we have we can reduce the size, we can increase the size of that particular object, where the matrix representation with respect to x comma y comma z can be given with respect to this, where Sx is with respect to x coordinate, Sy is scaling with respect to y coordinate, Sz is scaling with respect to z coordinate. The three-dimensional scaling transformation for a point position can be represented as P dash is equal to S dot P, where scaling parameters Sx, Xy and Sz are assigned any positive values. As we can go with x dash is equal to S into Sx, y dash is equal to y into Sy, z dash is equal to z into Sz. Let's see with one example here. You can see we have a sequence of transformations which is demonstrated with respect to scaling here. Here we have in the diagram 1 with respect to original position of xf, yf and zf, which could be once again brought to the origin of that with respect to these coordinates, and we have scaled that with respect to some some parameters. Then we have inverse translation, that is after scaling that particular object we have translated back to its normal position. So how can we define this operation? So we can define, first we did the translation, as here we did the translation from here to origin, and then we did the scaling, that is at origin we did increase the size of that particular object. Then we did the negative translation or inverse translation, that is from origin to that bigger object we have once again translated back to the normal position. So how can we proceed with the matrix? The matrix could be given something like this. I have a simple code also with respect to scaling here. I want you to go through this once again with respect to scaling operation and see what output you would be expecting in OpenGL. Moving on to the composite three-dimensional transformations, as we have already seen many examples regarding this composite 3D transformations, where we can mingle up many number of transformations with respect to translation, rotation and scaling, where we form a composite 3D transformation by multiplying the matrix representation for the individual operations in the transformation sequence. The next topic we have is other three-dimensional transformations. As we had discussed in 2D also, we have two more other 3D transformations like reflection and shear. So a reflection in a 3D space can be performed relative to a selected reflection axis or with respect to a reflection plane. So you can see here we have this x coordinate, y coordinate and z coordinate, or you can name them as axis. So we can reflect that relative to the xy plane only in this. So this could be reflected like this. Reflection with respect to a plane are similar when the reflection plane is a coordinate plane xy, xz or yz. We can think of the transformation as a 180-degree rotation in 4D space with a conversion between a left-handed frame and a right-handed frame. That is, either we can go with the clockwise or anti-clockwise form, like as shown in the previous example. How can we expect the matrix representation of M reflect? That is, reflect operation can be given like this in the matrix form. Moving on to the one more other 3D dimensional transformation function, that is shear, where we have matrix representation with respect to this, where we are shearing with respect to z and x axis. You can see one cube we have with respect to origin, that we are shearing with respect to x and y coordinates here, where a unit cube is shear related to the origin first, then with respect to like shear with respect to zx and zy in the unit form. So the matrix you can expect like this. Next we have affine transformations. A coordinate transformations of the form is called an affine transformation, which could be referred as x dash, y dash and z dash with respect to this particular formula. Affine transformations have the general properties that parallel lines are transformed into parallel lines and finite points map to finite points. Translation, rotation, scaling, reflection and shear, that is all kind of transformations you can expect as examples with respect to affine transformations. Another example of an affine transformation is the conversion of coordinate descriptions for a scene from one reference system to another, because this transformation can be described as a combination of translation and rotation. Moving on to the OpenGL geometric transformation functions, especially in 3D, as we have seen many functions in our lab programs and all. Here I have listed up some of them. The first one is GL matrix mode, which is used to select the model view composite transformation matrix as the target of subsequent OpenGL transformation for 4 modes. One is model view, projection, texture and color. As we know, this will be giving in the myInit function or the display function. The model view matrix stack is the 4x4 composite matrix which combines the viewing transformations and the various geometric transformations that we want to apply to a scene. One more is the GL get integer RV, in which we are referring GL underscore max underscore model view underscore stack underscore depth with respect to certain stack size. If we have a stack, obviously we'll be having a stack size, we'll be having the operations like push and pop, we'll be having the stack depth, we'll be having the texture of the stack depth, color stack depth, etc. So we can also find out how many matrices are currently into the stack with respect to the OpenGL function GL get integer RV, where we are once again referring with model view stack depth, giving with number mats as a parameter. And we have two functions available in OpenGL for processing the matrices in the stack, that is GL push matrix and GL pop matrix. And few of them I have listed up here. You can just go through, where I have provided the description also along with the function, which will be often used in our OpenGL programs. If you like my video, please like it, share it and subscribe it. Thank you.